Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I've decided to start a weekly review of everything that is happening around the world in soccer in the past week. So without further ado, let's get into this. We start with all the matches on Friday on the 20th with Girona's 3-0 win over Real Valladolid. In the Bundesliga, Bayern shredded Leipzig 5-1. And in the Serie A, Tiani Reinders helped Milan barely scrape past Hellas Verona. Meanwhile, in the former World Cup host Qatar, Al Duhail were crowned champions of the Qatari Stars Cup after beating Arabi 2-1 in the final of the competition. On Saturday, Aston Villa, despite not being in the best form this season, snatched a win against City with Morgan Rogers scoring and assisting a goal to Jan Duran to help Villa win against City. Nottingham Forest had a comfortable win over Brentford thanks to Ola Aina and Anthony Elanga. Newcastle keep destroying other teams with a 4-0 win over Ipswich Town, and Alexander Isak scoring a hat-trick. Mohamed Kudus saved West Ham from another loss after falling behind to Brighton. Gabriel Jesus is finally back in form with 2 goals in Arsenal's 5-1 win over Crystal Palace. Over in Spain, Mallorca got an important win for their campaign to secure European football thanks to a penalty scored by the Canadian striker Kyle Larin. Pablo Duran John Duran scored 2 goals against Real Sociedad to secure a shock win for Celta Vigo, and Athletic Bilbao came from behind against Osasuna with Cruzeta and Berenguer. Barcelona played Atletico Madrid in a heavyweight clash and Pedri gave them the lead, but then Rodrigo de Paul equalized in the second half. And let's be real, he would not have scored if Messi was still on that team because he's basically his bodyguard. Anyways, Alexander Sorloth was subbed on for Griezmann and found the late winner to put Atletico top of La Liga for now. In the Bundesliga, Mainz won comfortably over favorites Frankfurt despite getting a red card. Relegation candidates Holstein Kiel surprisingly destroyed Augsburg. So did Werder Bremen against Union Berlin. Borussia Mönchengladbach took the lead over Hoffenheim, but then they conceded a penalty and Andre Kremich converted it. Alassane Plia would come in clutch for Mönchengladbach and scored the winner to keep up their hopes for European football. St. Pauli got a surprise win over Stuttgart thanks to Johannes Eggstein, and he would have had a second if he didn't miss a penalty. Well lads, looks like Eggman strikes again. I should never say that again in my life. Patrick Schick scored 4 of Leverkusen's goals and got a perfect 10 rating on OneFootball in the 5-1 win over Freiburg. In Italy, Bologna comfortably beat Torino 2-0 with Daliga and Pobega scoring, and Napoli got a comfortable win against Genoa as well, Samuel Anguissa and Ramani scoring. Lecce went down to 10 men after conceding a penalty against Lazio with Castellanos scoring. Morente equalized, however, Adam Marusic scored the winner to keep Lazio in top 4. The next day in the Premier League, Everton held another London club, Chelsea, and Fulham were held by relegation candidates Southampton for 2 goalless draws. Wolves beat Leicester City 3-0, a crucial win for their bid to stay in the top flight, and Bournemouth owed Manchester United 3-0, so at least we're not the only Manchester club to lose. Spurs played Liverpool, and holy, this was one hell of a game. Luis Diaz and Alex McAllister scored 2, and then James Maddison did pull one back. Szoboszlai scored 1, Salah scored 2, and then Spurs came back again with 2 goals only for Luis Diaz to put the icing on the cake and cap off a chaotic game. In La Liga, Deportivo Alaves got an early lead over Valencia, but Valencia in the second half earned a penalty with Luis Rioja scoring. Deportivo Alaves earned a penalty themselves, and Joan Jordan converted, only for Dani Gomez to equalize for Valencia in the 98th minute. Real Madrid got a comfortable 4-2 win against Sevilla with Mbappe scoring and assisting a goal. Sandro Ramirez helped Las Palmas beat Espanyol, while Leganes and Villarreal play out possibly the most chaotic game of the video. If you thought Liverpool against Spurs was chaotic, you ain't seen nothing yet, girl. Leganes got an early lead over Villarreal before Daniel Reba scored a second from the spot after Tiano Barry equalized. He scored again before Oscar for Leganes got a red card. Barry completed his hat-trick, and then Leganes went down to 9 men after Jorge Sainz got a red card. And Barry also got a red card before it was rescinded. After that, Villarreal scored 2 stoppage time goals to end this match. That was just all over the place. A more peaceful match, however, Isco, who is actually playing for Real Betis now, I just found that out while making the script. He scored from the spot against Rayo Vallecano, but Iso Balazon wouldn't have any of it, and his equalizer leveled the scores, and it would remain the same until the end of the 90 minutes. Bochum Cruz passed Heidenheim with a comfortable 2-0 win, and so did Dortmund against Wolfsburg, despite getting a red card. Roma destroyed Parma 5-0. Venezia scored 2 goals over Cagliari to win 2-1. Lorenzo Colombo gave Empoli a shot lead over title contenders Atalanta, but Charles de Ketelaere and Adamola Lookman gave them a lead, only for the defense to completely screw them over, but de Ketelaere scored the late winner to keep them top of the Serie A. Weston McKennie gave Juventus the lead over Monza before Barandelli equalized, but Nicolas Gonzalez scored the winner to keep up Juventus' unbeaten record in the Serie A. In the Coupe de France, Rennes destroyed Bordeaux 4-1, Marseille did the same 4-0 against Saint Etienne. PSG barely scraped through on penalties against Lund. They fell behind, but Gonzalo Ramos saved them. They didn't even have Donnarumma in net, and they still won the shootout somehow. PSV clapped Feyenoord in the Eredivisie 3-0 to stay top, and after Arne Slot left Feyenoord, they haven't really been the same, as they are 4th right now, behind FC Utrecht, for God's sake. Over in Belgium, Ghent beat Anderlecht 2-0, while Union Saint-Gilloise blew a 2-0 lead to Club Brugge, and the match somehow ended 2-2. In Honduras, where I am from, Montagua won the first half of the league, beating Olimpia, and the first half of the league is called the Group Apertura, and the second half is the Group Clausura, if you guys don't know. It's like the same for Mexico, for example, one of the more known leagues in Latin America. Over in Bolivia, Bolivar, who are owned by City Football Group, actually won the Bolivian division, the Torneo Clausura, after beating, I'm not even gonna say that, bro. Next day on Monday, Fiorentina somehow lost to Udinese despite going up with a Moyes Keane penalty. Lorenzo Luca and Florian Thauvin, they helped Udinese secure the win. Meanwhile, Inter comfortably beat Como 2-0. No matches until Thursday, and on Thursday we got Premier League matches more. Man City played Everton and still couldn't win. Bernardo Silva gave us the early lead, only for Ilian Ndiaye to equalize right before Haaland missed a penalty. He scored from the rebound, but he was offside, so it didn't even count. Palmer gave Chelsea the lead, only to choke in the final 15 minutes. Classic Chelsea. At least we didn't lose this match day. Newcastle destroyed Villa 3-0, and John Duran got a red card in that match. Anthony Elanga scored a single goal against Spurs to keep up their impressive campaign so far. They have another red card also. I could thank Jed Spence for that. Nicolas Fulkrug actually did something for West Ham for once, as he assisted Jared Bowen for the winner against Southampton. Bournemouth against Crystal Palace ended in a 0-0 draw, and we have another red card thanks to Bruno Fernandes's antics, if you will. Mateus Cunha scored yet again, this time in Olympico. That was amazing, and assisted Juan Hee-chan to beat United to the shock of absolutely no one. Liverpool fell behind to Jordan Ayew, but that didn't stop them from coming back, as they scored 3 goals right after that. In Belgium, Royal Antwerp and Ghent played a back-and-forth game, as Kirk scored before Errol Kardare scored for Ghent, before Kirk scored again, but then Errol Kardare scored again, and it ended 2-2. Brighton and Bradford ended in a stalemate the next day, and Kai Havertz scored the only goal against Ipswich Town. On Saturday, Serie A continued, and Genoa got an easy 2-1 win over Empoli. Parma against Monza was next, and Pablo Mari got a second yellow and consequently got sent off, which gave way for a penalty to be scored. Monza scored a late equalizer, only for the defense to screw them over and concede a late winner. Inter Milan cruised past Cagliari. Lazio surprisingly took the lead against Atalanta, but Marco Brescianini came out and scored only 4 minutes later to salvage a point. Match day 19 of the Prem was the next day, and Savinio finally became actually useful for once and scored and assisted an Erling Haaland goal. Chris Wood and Morgan Gibbs-White helped force beat Everton, while Jimenez gave Fulham the lead against Bournemouth, but Evan Nilsson equalized. Harry Wilson got the lead back, but Dango Ouattara helped scrape the point for the Cherries to keep up their hope for European football. Juan Hee-chan kept up his good form, only for Bentancur to equalize. Son missed a penalty, but it was fine since Brennan Johnson gave them the lead. Oh wait, this is Spurs we're talking about, and they bottled it in the 87th minute. Trevoh Chalobah and Eberici Eze helped Crystal Palace come back against Southampton after falling behind, and it seems like Rosala's Christmas curse is broken because Liverpool destroyed West Ham 5-0. Over in Italy, Udinese were 2-0 up, but somehow choked just like Union Saint-Gilloise. Raspadori scored a single goal to help Napoli beat Venezia. Kefren Thuram gave Juve the lead before Moyes Keane equalized. Durham scored a second, and it looked like Juventus would actually win for once, but they conceded to Ricardo Sotil. I've never even heard of this guy. Roma keep up their impressive form under Claudio Ranieri, with Paulo Dybala scoring after falling behind to AC Milan, despite not being in the best form. After Ruben Amorim left Sporting, somehow beat Benfica 1-0. After that, they stayed joint top of the Liga Portugal, tied with Porto. In the final match day of the window, Simon Adingra gave Brighton the lead, but Oli Watkins scored a penalty and assisted Morgan Rogers to give Aston Villa the lead. Tariq Lamptey wouldn't have any of it and equalized for Brighton. Chelsea continued their terrible form after Christmas as they conceded 2 goals to flipping Ipswich. Alexander Isak and Joelinton helped Newcastle get a comfortable 2-0 win over United in the Serie A. Patrick Cuchon helped Como win 2-0 over Leipzig with a goal and assist. Bologna against Hellas Verona was not sent. Bologna took the lead, but Hellas Verona responded with 2 goals of their own. Bologna received a red card before Benjamin Dominguez scored his second goal of the match. Verona would come out on top, however, thanks to a late own goal. So after this weekend, the Premier League, Liverpool are cruising away with 2 dominant displays. Actually, 3 dominant displays. Spurs, Leicester, and West Ham. Nottingham Forest actually are second now, with Arsenal and Chelsea right behind after Chelsea got 2 losses in a row. And lost to flipping Ipswich, now resorted to 2023 ways. Newcastle are 5th, 1 point ahead of City, who did pretty underwhelming this week, with somehow Bournemouth in 7th. Fulham are doing pretty good as well and are tied with Aston Villa, who haven't performed up to standards this season and didn't have the best week. Sure, they beat City, but still. Brighton are mid-table like last season and only got 3 draws this week, along with the underwhelming Spurs, who haven't won since they beat City, except against Southampton, but they don't even count because they're bottom of the table. They're tied with Brentford, who have had a pretty decent season so far, despite not having Ivan Toney anymore, but they did not have a really good week and could only get 1 measly point against Brighton. West Ham and Manchester United are having terrible seasons. They are tied, but at least West Ham earned points this week, as Man United lost all 3 matches. Crystal Palace are right behind them, however, and actually didn't do that bad this week, except the Arsenal loss. We did not talk about that, and they earned 4 points. Everton and especially Wolves got crucial points this week, and Wolves actually got 7 out of 9 points, a really good week for them. Ipswich also did get crucial points despite being in the relegation zone and having the hardest schedule this week as they beat Chelsea. Leicester still have hope to escape the bottom, but it will take a lot of work after not getting a single point this week. Southampton will most likely be relegated. They haven't even gotten 10 points yet, and they could only get 1 point this week from Fulham. Also, let me just say something. What kind of simulation are we living in, where a bald Dutch manager is actually cooking for once? Nottingham Forest are second, Arsenal and Chelsea aren't bad, and where Man City is struggling for top 4, Crystal Palace is at mid-table and struggling in the relegation zone, and where Bournemouth and Fulham are in a top 4 race, or European football race. Like, what the hell is going on? I mean, Fulham were in a European football race, like, 2 seasons ago, because of Mitrovic. He single-handedly carried them, but still, bro, what the hell is going on? The title race in La Liga is neck and neck between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, with Barcelona hanging in just behind. There was only 1 match they played this week, and it was Atletico's win that put them on the top. Real Madrid are second after beating Sevilla, and Barca fell down to 3rd. Athletic Bilbao remained in 4th after beating Osasuna and could cause trouble for the other title contenders. Villarreal and Mallorca are in the race for European football and did pretty well to give themselves a better chance after beating Leganes and Getafe respectively. Real Sociedad are absolutely finished now. They are in 7th and not even in a spot for European football. Their days of finishing in the top 4 are over, and they only did it for 1 season, so yeah. They are cooked. Another team that is cooked is Girona. They are finished. They got absolutely robbed in the transfer window, so it's no surprise they are in 8th. Sure, they just won a match against last place Real Valladolid. Oh, another team that's finished, Real Betis. They usually finish in the top 6 and qualify for European football, but now they are 9th and 5 points off of Mallorca. To be fair, they're tied with Real Sociedad, Girona, but like still, Osasuna are mid-table, they're tied with them also. Celta Vigo are somehow not in the relegation fight this season, and they're actually playing good, and they're 1 point behind Osasuna and all the other teams I just mentioned. Rayo Vallecano, for some reason, don't play James Rodriguez. They just refuse. and that has left them tied with Las Palmas and the worst Sevilla side ever. To be fair, they got a point against Real Betis. Las Palmas are now in 13th after beating Espanyol, and this Sevilla side is beyond embarrassing. Sure, they lost to Madrid this week. I mean, it's Madrid, but like still, they lost to Leganes and Deportivo Alaves, and they are 15th and 16th in a relegation fight. I didn't even know Leganes was a team. How do you lose to them? Speaking of them, yeah, they're 15th and 16th in a relegation fight, as I mentioned. Leganes somehow choked against Villarreal after going down to 9 men. And Deportivo Alaves couldn't beat Valencia. This Valencia team. That is shameful. Getafe haven't done that good and lost to Mallorca. Espanyol are in the relegation zone and somehow lost to Las Palmas. But now the worst of the worst. Valencia. This team is horrible. How is a historic team like this in a relegation battle? 4 points from safety. They barely scraped the point against Deportivo Alaves. They somehow lost to Real Valladolid, Rayo Vallecano, lost. Mallorca, lost. Las Palmas, lost. Real Sociedad, lost. Atletico, lost. Athletic Bilbao, lost. Celta Vigo, lost. Barcelona, lost. The only reason they don't concede 5 goals per game is because of the Georgian goat Mamardashvili. Real Valladolid are even worse because they have more losses, and in fact they lost to Barca 7-0. That's way worse than Valencia. They should be sent down to amateur football level, let alone the second division. Over in Italy, the title race is super tight between Atalanta, Napoli, and Inter Milan with just a 1-point gap. Atalanta recently dropped points against Lazio, which could open up the door for any of those teams. Napoli got 6 out of 6 points this week and are tied with Atalanta, so one slip up and they could be top. Same goes for Inter after the wins over Cagliari and Como. Lazio got a crucial point against Atalanta, and that coupled with their win over Lecce sees them in the top 4 now. Fiorentina dropped to 5th after losing to Udinese and a draw with Juventus. And Juventus, on the other hand, got a win against Monza and are tied with Fiorentina after their draw against them and are still unbeaten. Bologna somehow lost to Hellas Verona and are doing worse than last season, but at least they are better than AC Milan, who are terrible right now and barely beat Verona and drew against the worst Roma team ever. How do you do that? Also, Milan somehow drew to Cagliari and lost to Parma, which is why they are in this predicament. Udinese actually did pretty good this week and beat Fiorentina and drew Torino. Roma have been way better under Claudio Ranieri and destroyed Parma 5-0, which sees them 10th now, and after their horrid start where they lost to Como. Hellas Verona and even Empoli. Tied with them are Torino, who lost to Bologna and only got a draw against Udinese. Empoli did terrible and lost to both Genoa and Atalanta this week. Genoa only got 3 points this week as they had to play Napoli beforehand and are in 13th right now. Despite Parma getting shredded like Parmesan cheese against Roma, they redeemed themselves with their win against Monza. Tied with them are Como and Hellas Verona, who both got crucial wins against Lecce and Bologna respectively. Lecce are only 2 points away from the relegation, and they need to amp up the form if they want to survive, because they didn't even get a point this week. Cagliari lost to Inter, which that's understandable, but they somehow lost to Venezia, which, speaking of them, their win was crucial as now they're only 3 points away from safety, and they barely lost to Napoli, so they should be optimistic. Monza have not been performing like they did in the past, and have only 1 win this whole season so far. In Germany, Bayern are top with Leverkusen right behind them after the demolitions of Leipzig and Freiburg respectively. Frankfurt and Leipzig are starting to bottle top 4 as they both lost to Mainz and Bayern. Mainz are surprisingly in 5th, 2 points behind them. They could obtain top 4 if they play like they did against Frankfurt. Dortmund are tied with them along with Werder Bremen, who both won their games this week. Mönchengladbach and Freiburg are hanging in the top 4 race, 3 points behind Frankfurt and Leipzig. Freiburg, though, will want to forget what happened in Leverkusen and has a huge dent on their chances of top 4. Mönchengladbach, on the other hand, took full advantage with their win against Hoffenheim. Stuttgart are doing as well as last season as they lost to flipping St. Pauli. Wolfsburg are trying to secure top 6 European football, but it's not helping when they lose to Dortmund, who aren't even in top 4. Union Berlin are at least better than last season, despite losing to Werder Bremen 4-1. Augsburg somehow got destroyed by Holstein Kiel, who I didn't even know existed. St. Pauli's win over Stuttgart is a massive confidence booster, however, for their campaign of survival. Hoffenheim, I don't know what happened to them because they qualified for the Europa League last season and now they are 4 points away from safety. Heidenheim are doing even worse and lost to last place Bochum and gave them their first win of the season somehow. Holstein Kiel and Bochum did well this week to get points that could potentially help them survive in the long run. We didn't cover League 1, only the Coupe de France, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't care. PSG are top as usual with Marseille and Monaco 10 points behind. Lyon are competing with them, however, for the automatic Champions League spot, and so are Lyon, who are 2 points behind them. Nice are looking to secure European football, along with their main competitors, Lens, who they are tied with. Auxerre and Toulouse are somehow in the midst also, while Reims and Brest, who have played pretty good in the past years, yeah, they aren't doing that well in the table. Rennes are having an underwhelming season despite their reputation for being one of the best in France. Tied with them are Strasbourg, who are only 4 points away from safety. The relegation battle is all to play for though, with a 2-point gap between Nantes, Angers, Saint Etienne, and Le Havre. Montpellier are absolutely terrible for a club of their historical standards. They have less points than Valencia, and they somehow lost to Lens, Saint Etienne, Le Havre, Toulouse, Marseille, Rennes, Monaco, Rennes, Nantes, and PSG. Okay, some of them I understand, but like still, bro. In the Eredivisie, PSV are at the top with Ajax closing in on them in the Liga Portugal. The title is all to play for between Sporting Porto and Benfica. Meanwhile, in Belgium, the title is between Genk and Club Brugge, with Anderlecht, Antwerp, and Union Saint-Gilloise having an outside shout. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what team you support in the comments. How is your team doing? All that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to subscribe to my main channel, the gaming channel. Do all that. Thank you so much. Bye.